All right, I was gonna try to shoot a video here for movies that I've picked up. Movies and one uh, graphic novel. I'll start off with that. This is my second Deadpool collection. This is the Volume 1 Deadpool Classic. I think there's like four of these, like four volumes of different stories about Deadpool, like the earlier versions of Deadpool comics. I know the other one I got was a volume 1 of like a more modern like rebooted versions of Deadpool. And I just the only three I've been collecting is Deadpool, Batman. More Batman is the most. Batman, Deadpool, and then Star Wars comics. The Star Wars ones are usually pretty small and not really long stories, but I have a whole bunch of them because I find them. They're pretty easy to find. I know that like the stores called Ollie's had some, and I got a bunch there. Anyway, I probably will continue to stick with focusing on like Batman, Deadpool, and Star Wars. The only other one I would consider getting into would be like maybe one or two Captain America storylines. But I don't really want to get too crazy with it. If I had to scale it back, I would just focus on Batman. Movies. I don't have any particular order. I found this collection of the original Star Wars trilogy. Not really sure why I bought that. I was thinking that I could maybe list it and then sell it, but then I realized when I went into the cases, they were missing like one or two discs, like the making of discs. So it would be harder to sell that if it's not all there. So I think that they do have the all the movies and everything, and there's just that some of like the making of discs are not in the cases. So it's not a big deal. I think I spent less than like $2. I think the person didn't bother like going into the cases and checking to see. They usually always try to check to see how many discs they are, and then they like up the price on how many discs. But I think they only charged me. I don't know why they said 2, but they just assumed there was like 2 discs in there rather than there should be like 6. And I was just like, oh man, I don't want to buy this if they're going to charge for 6 discs, which would probably be close to about $5. Anyway, it's supposed to be the version that was re-released, I think, after the 90s, but early 2000s, I think. It may have been before the prequels. I don't know. Some of the listings on eBay had, like the complete with everything there was kind of on the higher end, but higher end meaning like $20 or $30. But I'll probably just end up keeping it, even though I already have a couple different versions of the original 3 Star Wars movies. I'll probably just keep it. A couple movies up here. Dogtown and Z-Boys is a documentary. This year, for classes that I'm teaching a class that I could use like documentaries and stuff. I was considering using that. It's a documentary about, I think like in the 70s, they made a movie about this. Like this, I think it was called Dogtown. It had Heath Ledger, I know, was in it before he passed away. It was supposed to be like the California culture about like surfing and how skateboarding came about, and then how that kind of led to I would say like the American obsession with like extreme sports. So I didn't actually sit down and watch it. I kind of watched like a summary of the documentary, like a review of it. But it was only like 60 some cents, so it's not really worth all that much. But I figured I could use it in the class I'll end up teaching, and maybe kids will like it, maybe they won't. Who knows? Top three ones are sealed. I keep finding some sealed stuff. The nice thing about sealed stuff is they don't really try to upcharge that because you can't get into the case, so they just charge it like 60 cents regardless. Like regardless of how many discs are in there, they'll just give that to me for like less than $1. So, No Country for Old Men and Four Brothers were two movies that I always had liked, and I don't think I own them. I'm getting to the point now. I really gotta sit down and inventory what I have because in the last year I got a new phone, and then the app I had a hard time transferring it over to this new phone, and then kind of lost everything. So the inventory app that I had, I don't have anymore. So I gotta go back and scan everything I have to look it up when I see if like do I have Four Brothers, do I not have Four Brothers. A lot of times, as of lately, I just pick it up if especially if it's sealed. I pick it up because it's only worth 60 cents. It's only going to cost me 60 cents, and then like if it's a movie that I really like and I do end up having it, I could just end up keeping this one and then get rid of the other one or give it to somebody. But all three of those are sealed. I don't have any experience or background with Game of Thrones. This is the first season. And I was like thinking, like, do I really want to invest time in this? I like Sean Bean. I know what happens to him in this show. I know that people do like obviously that show. It's gone a bunch of seasons, but I just figured that I can't go wrong with like 60 some cents. Maybe I'll watch it eventually. Who knows? But I couldn't go wrong with it being sealed. I don't think it's really worth all that much. I looked that up too. But I'll keep all of those. What else? The Road is a movie that I was interested in. I never watched it before. I've been a pretty decent Vigo fan of him, especially in some of the other movies he made beyond Lord of the Rings were pretty good. Eastern Promises and History of Violence, I think, were two ones I can think of. He did one about like being on like a horse race or something. I forget what that was about. But I had heard good things about The Road. Truman Show was another one. I'm picking up some that I think I could use for this class that I'm gonna teach this school year, and Truman Show, and even like The Village. I'm just picking up stuff that I could consider using, since The Village is about like I can't remember if that's supposed to be technically the Amish, but they're people like outcasts and stuff. That the class is like more about sociology and culture and stuff like that. But anyway, what else? I found Dick Tracy. Man, that's probably been about 25 years more, 25 plus years since I've seen that. I always get this confused with Dick Tracy and then the one about the rabbit one. I forget what that's called. It's got like the animation. It kind of seem very similar. They're running together for me in my memory. Evil Dead trilogy pack. I know I have Army of Darkness, but I wasn't sure if I had Evil Dead 1 and 2, and so I was like, this is a great thing to pick up, and then I can try to get rid of the individual ones to kind of condense the space on my shelf. But I mean, Army of Darkness was classic, man. I remember watching that and thinking how awesome that was. I don't have a lot of memory with the other two, Evil Dead 1 and 2, but Army of Darkness was one that I think did really well as far as like a cult classic. Live and Let Die is probably the one Roger Moore movie that I will say was fairly decent. It's the one about New Orleans. And I can't remember. There's a bunch of other Roger Moore ones that I don't have. I know. I think I have Moonraker. But Live and Let Die was one that I had been keeping my eyes out for, and I finally found it. And my entire James Bond collection has been picked up at Goodwill's, and I think I'm only down to about maybe 5 or 6 I almost said Batman, James Bonds that I haven't found yet. So I'm doing pretty well. I've been kind of actively looking for them over the last like 4 or 5 years. The Island is another movie that I might possibly use in the class I'm teaching, just because of, I don't know. I don't really need to explain myself with the movies that I'm using like in my class, because it's an elective class. But yeah, I'm just picking up stuff that I could possibly use, and then I need to. What I probably will do if I keep teaching it for the next few years is just kind of use some year and then use others other years, kind of thing. There's a part of the class I teach that's supposed to be about like the future, like future medicine, future technology, future etc. So like I think Minority Report was another one I was like thinking about using. The Island has to do with cloning cloning people to use their organs, and then basically killing them, and then they think they're going to the island, but they're actually being killed to harvest their organs. It's kind of a... I actually can't believe how old that movie is, because it's probably almost 20 years old. I think it probably would have came out maybe 2002, 2003. He would have made that movie in between two of the Star Wars movies, I think. But Scarlett would have been pretty young. All right, last 3 movies that I picked up, these are documentaries. I don't think I would use them in what I teach, but I think I would use them for me, like learning. And plus, I'm a sucker for Ken Burns. I don't have a lot of Ken Burns documentaries, but when I saw them, this was a part of a set where it had like, I think at least 7 or 8 cases in the set. And then these are the 3 that I was interested in picking up. I wasn't going to pick all of them up because I know they would have charged me for each individual disc, and it was a lot better to just separate the collection, and then somebody else would probably be angry that those are the ones left behind. But they were topics of things I didn't really have interest in, especially like people of the past that were interesting but not that interesting enough for me to buy. So there's one about Lewis and Clark, there's one about Thomas Jefferson, and one about Mark Twain. I probably would eventually watch them and keep them in at school. I picked up I don't think I showed that off, but I picked up a fairly cheap DVD player that has a monitor on it, and it was like $4.99, and I was going to just keep that in at school and use that to play movies and stuff while I'm in at my job, and probably maybe use that like at lunchtime, or use that after school when I'm just taking care of some stuff, have an extra hour. I could pop one of these in, about Thomas Jefferson, about Mark Twain, watch any of these movies. But that was a good finding that for like $4.99. I know they're not really all that sought after, because not everybody's seeking out DVDs, but for me, I thought that was really cool to find that for like less than $5 basically. But anyway, this is the stuff I found for this month that was other related, not video games. And I'm gonna put a video together here, some games I got, and I'll probably put these videos out around the same time. So I will tell me what you think, and if you're collecting stuff like this, if there's anything you're looking out for, feel free to let me know, share, comment, and I will see you next time.